So it was a world tour, super tour, and it's just been brilliant. And just, I don't know. Um, so going from being basically just a novice to the industry to being a more savvy now and understanding it, it was all through their tour, really. I mean, like, um, understanding how to use in-ears, like in-ear monitoring. Before I was just using like wedges, like most other drummers or whatnot. It's quite old school because of like playing in pubs, and then I did progress at some point to some like cans, and then I decided no, in-ears. But I'd never experienced them before, so putting them in custom in-ears in my ears, and then when singing BVs and hearing the vocals like right in your ear, that was quite strange. That was strange. And then also like just the lights, like during production rehearsals I hadn't actually experienced lasers and strobe lighting, and like becoming aggressive and just wondering why, and then having Neil say, oh, it's because that's sort of what the lights are meant to do. Because I just kept feeling like I wanted to smash my drum kit off its riser every time like the white strobe light started up. So that was quite funny. And then through to just traveling the world, and seeing different parts of it, like Croatia, just experiencing life. Because I think I'm quite, not experienced a huge amount, but it was definitely experiences that will always stick with me, like swimming in, the sea in Croatia, and then it getting a bit wavy, like a bit rocky. The waves were getting a bit big, and then getting separated from my friend, and then being dashed upon these rocks on the beach, having salt in my eyes, rubbing it off, and then looking up and opening my eyes to just a dick. Like, just a flaccid penis. Because I had managed to float over to a nudist beach. And I had been separated quite a lot from my friend. And just being like, okay, these are tour experiences, Single-handedly breaking a tour bus because nobody told me you couldn't actually flush toilet roll down the toilet. So I got the whole vibe of no crapping and no pee, like you pee can go down there, but no crapping, and no being sick, right? So I'm like, okay, so they're just talking about bodily fluids, but nobody told me at any point did they say you cannot put loo roll down there. So I've been there, peeing and then wiping and then throwing the loo roll down there, and then we're in the States, so we got like $1 million bus, and then one day the driver's just like, the bus is broken, and so everyone's like, oh, well, why? And then he was like, there's something to do with sort of the toilet system, like basically it's clogged up with like loo roll. So I'm there, at the back, like, oh man, that was totally me, So I single-handedly broke this tour bus, and they had to get a new one, which, it was, the next one we got was pretty awesome as well. Yeah, so just experiences like that, you don't get unless you've been on, like, a massive tour, or just a tour in general, you get these experiences and things. So, also sometimes, I guess, on tour, it's not just those worldly things that happen to you that make you stop and think and that you remember forever. Sometimes it's just the more intimate conversations that you might have with someone. I remember a time I was actually attending a Pet Shop Boys show, so I wasn't actually on the show this time. It was a separate thing that they were doing, and I was just there as a guest to watch. And I was talking to an individual in the bar, and I was on like a high stool with my leg was on, like high stools have like the bit at the bottom, the metal thing that goes around the bottom, so you can just put your heel on there so you can get a bit of purchase. So I was sitting on that, with my leg up and leaning on the bar, and this individual came up to me. and was talking, but the room was filling up, so he had to sort of come in a bit closer for a conversation so I could hear him. But I do remember the moment where I felt some weight on my knee. And I realised it was his wang. It was a weighty wang. And now I had to stop and think. If I was a man, and this was a woman, and it was her boob resting on, say, shoulder or something, what would he do? But the thing is, it just isn't the same for a woman. I'm sorry, it just isn't. But I was too anxious and shy and just awkward. I was just too awkward to say, could you please, sir, remove your wang from my knee? So I took to just extending my leg out slowly so that the weight was then not on my leg. So the conversation continued, no problem, things happen. Maybe he just wasn't aware of his bits on my knee, I'm not sure. But then after some time I was like, I'd like to put my leg back up just for the balance. So I returned my knee slowly, to return my heel to the bottom of the high stool. So my knee's now up again. And within a few seconds, the wang returned to my knee. And I was just like, do you know what? I don't think I can do this. So I wrapped up the conversation and went. Because, I just felt awkward. And I was like, I really don't feel comfortable with this. So it's not always the, the fancy dinners or the massive crowds. Sometimes it can be an intimate one-to-one conversation that can leave you with memories or scars. So it was really good. Yeah. So I think one of my favourite things, if I just relive the tour moments, one of the key highlights for me was the tour bus. Actually, there are two. There's the chartered flights. I won't lie. Being on a private jet is killer. It really is. It's the most gangster thing, actually. That is really cool. But I think a major tour bus is also really awesome for its own things. And especially when you're travelling around America, that's like just the coolest thing. Because you go to bed and you wake up and you're basically in a different state. And because you know what America's like, the states are different. Each state has its own personality, own set of laws, accents. It can be completely different from one state to another. So, yeah, I really enjoyed that. But that was a whole new thing. Do you know what I mean? The etiquette of a tour bus. So not only had I wrecked the tour bus from putting toilet roll down the bog, but also I wasn't really aware that there was so we get on the tour bus. There are bunks, which, can I just say, they look a bit like coffins. They're tiny. There's you've only got enough room to lay on your side or your back, or but there isn't a huge abundance of room. It's really quite, you just lay in one fixed position, and that's where you are for the duration. And then it has a little curtain. So things I didn't realise are, apparently if you have a sock hanging out of your bunk, it means that you're doing the business of someone. So, people, not on this tour, mind, but people, it has been a thing to leave a sock outside your bunk or outside your dressing room. That happened to me. So, people weren't knocking, or they just weren't coming in to check on me, or to just say hi like they normally were. And it's because there was a sock tied to the door of the dressing room. But anyway, so on a tour bus, that's a similar vibe. So if you've got someone in there, I don't know how you'd be able to do the business in a tour bus bunk, because there's no way you'd be able to do that. I don't know, you'd have to do some crazy stuff, I'm not really sure. So there's that, but also the bunks, there's a top bunk, a middle bunk, and a low bunk. And depending on where you are, if you're on the top, the bus sways a bit more. Middle is perfect, but of course they go really quick. And as soon as you stick electrical tape and you write your name in Sharpie, that's done. That you cannot Do you know what I mean? You cannot claim that. That has been claimed. So I was left with either the top or the very bottom. I didn't think it was going to be very graceful or ladylike to have to climb out of a top bunk below two people in my underwear or whatnot with everybody else to see. Because obviously, it's mixed. It's not. It's men and women there, not just guys, not just girls. So I didn't think everyone wanted to be seeing my ass first thing in the morning. So I decided, I think I'll go on the bottom bunk and then I can just roll out in the morning, and wait until everyone's moved out of the gangway and we don't have to do this little dance in the morning where we're trying to put our legs through the leg holes and whatnot. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to do that. But I didn't know this, but the aircon comes out of the floor. So, I almost froze to death. I almost froze to death being on this bottom bunk. I got sick within a week of being on the bus. Like pneumonia level. I'm not even kidding. I felt that ill. Because the aircon just kept seeping in and the curtain wasn't doing anything. I was trying to create a barrier out of a blanket that I had. But it was just pumping in all night and I just got ill. I was run down. The aircon's there for, a good reason to kill germs and whatnot, but it just gave me germs, and so I was just constantly sick. I didn't know that. Had I known, I think I would have just gone on the top bunk. But these are tall life things that you've got to learn. So that I think tour bus. Apart from being ill, tour bus is definitely the coolest vibe. Just having like a little kitchenette on there so you can have breakfast and look out the window and, it's cool. And it's fun. And then the back lounge, that was cool. We watched 50 Shades in the back lounge. We wrote some music. We watched scary films. We played Would You Rather. I ate packets of red velvet Oreos until I was sick. People were actually sick in the back, just from drinking too much alcohol and then needing a place to just chunder into their plastic bags. It was brilliant. The back lounge was definitely very cool. Yeah.